So who's with me today?
Hi guys, I'm Eeyorr, jungler and captain for Team ONIC RISE.
Alright, so thank you very much for joining us, Eeyorr. So I am at Jakarta, Indonesia. We are at the PIK Avenue. It is a huge mall. And look what we got in the background. Yay! We are having a Pikachu's Indonesia journey Jakarta happening this weekend and probably like entire 10 days, like 9 days.
Yeah, it's a
like
festival.
It's an entire festival that you can get like exclusive like goodies or like trading card games and so on. And they are having a Pikachu dance show, even with collaborating with Hatsune Miku for the first time of the entire world. So this series is a relay interview series, and I will be starting off this again with him because I am meeting him in person in Jakarta. So I thought this is gonna be a really good start to kick off second series. Okay, so the first question is, it's about your team. So since 2022, so most of your team rosters have remained the same, with only one significant roster change, which is Necro leaving and Dev joining in 2023 to 2024. And just for the tips, that Dev is the same Dev who has competed at APAC Regionals in 2022 with Team No Recovery, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And he won the first WCS qualifier.
He didn't compete at the Worlds, right?
He couldn't travel because of visa issues.
Okay, so as Pokémon Unite approaches its fourth year as an esport, many teams are newly formed that they're gonna disband after large tournaments, you know. So, but some like yours, or probably I would say SAUL, need to add Legacy or probably SAR. Those have maintained stable rosters for over a year and perform at a really high level. So, Eeyorr, what do you think are the advantages of having a mostly unchanged roster for such a long time?
So I think the biggest advantage for us is that we have grown together as a team.
Right.
Instead of players that are able to grow individually, but they cannot translate to that in a team setting. Yeah. So I feel very fortunate that four of us, which is me, Zoe, Iluna, and AXQ, the four of us have progressed so much from the beginning of this Rise team back in 2022. We have even like built an identity around our team. It makes it very easy for a new player that we slot in to fit into our playstyle and also perform and blend in very easily towards our team. All of us are very good friends as well with each other. And also the biggest thing that helped us for WCS is that we actually had a coach to help us. One of his main contribution is helping us in between these arguments when we're discussing about Pokemon Unite, about the strategies,
Wonderful. So yeah, you just stated a really good tip. Like probably they're having a mental coach because Pokemon Unite only has like 3 to 4 years history, right? So they don't really have like a veteran like pro esports player in Pokemon Unite. Like they got a lot in League of Legends or like other esports titles. They got lots of like ex-pro esports players at work as a mental coach or like strategic coach or like analyst and so on. But we don't still have that in Pokemon Unite yet. So probably those coaches are like outside of Pokemon Unite. They might be not a good player as you are right now, but they still got a lot of experience from other esports scenes and so on. So it's worth asking, worth listening.
And those experiences are really translatable into Pokemon Unite. Our coach for CS 2024 is actually an ex-professional player as well as ex-professional coach for the game Mobile Legends.
Mobile Legends.
Yeah. He eventually learned about the strategies and meta of Pokemon Unite, and he helped us there as well. Yeah, so it was a really big help for us.
Good. Okay, so let's move on to the second question. Staying at the top of the Indonesian scene for so long must be incredibly challenging. So do you think it is because there is less competition in Indonesia, or is it more a reflection of your team's hard work and dedication?
So I think it's a little bit of both because Indonesia, we don't have as many strong teams as Japan as well. But also we feel that it's not as bad as some of the other regions. Like for example, Singapore and Malaysia. For example, in Indonesia, we still have Team Onyx. That is kind of a statement that in APAC West itself, Indonesia is actually the best region out of the three, right? And for ONIC RISE, us having Team Onyx continuously being on our back end, chasing us and trying to eventually beat us, it is an additional motivation.
Exactly.
And we have that little bit of fear that if we let up, if we don't take it seriously, we're gonna lose it all, you know. So,
Okay.
at least for me.
Makes sense. So, given how dominant ONIC RISE or your previous team like RISE or itself or RRQ, you just mentioned Team Onyx, but do you ever feel that players who don't make it into your team might feel discouraged enough to quit playing Pokemon Unite like competitively altogether?
For me, I personally hope not, because it would really be a shame for Indonesia. Because I feel like that is somewhat the case for the Singapore and Malaysia region. I feel like players that are not in Team MYS are not as motivated to perform well in Pokemon Unite esports.
Probably.
Yeah. I can say that for now, that is still not the case in Indonesia. We still have many teams that are practicing seriously and frequently as well. I think we have at least 30 teams.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
So it's still pretty good for Indonesia right
Yeah,
now.
exactly. So earlier this year, you narrowly lost 1-2 to Kabichans at the ACL 2024, and it was up on stage. You know, it was a really close battle. And then in the rematch on the WCS, it was another really close battle, but this time you fell 0-2. So it must be really tough, but you ended up on third place, which is higher than the Zeta division, EX Kabichans. So I've got a question. So looking back over the past 6 months, like from the ACL to the Worlds, how do you reflect on your growth and progress on both teams during that period?
I feel like their progress is not as much compared to ONIC RISE. I feel like Zeta division in ACL was definitely one of the best teams in the world. If not number one, then at least number two. As well as their performance in AOS Cup in London.
Yeah.
I feel like it's, even though they managed to get second place, but I feel that it's a sign that maybe their team are unable to progress further compared to their ACL success. And I think it also shows in WCS where they placed 5th place. And other teams also managed to beat them in matches. So I think it's a little bit of a disappointment for them.
Okay, continue to talk about Japanese teams and your team. So ONIC RISE was the only one to handle Fennel, a game lost during this year's WCS, even though they went on to win the world so dominantly. So how do you reflect on that match and your performance during that moment?
I think that was one of the best matches in the history of the Pokemon Unite esports altogether. I think it was a really, really close match. My team was the only team that even had a chance in beating Fennel. We are the team that our preparation for Fennel is the best. I think that he is godlike on Blaziken and Arena. So that's what we spent our 2 bans on during the
Okay.
draft.
Okay, yeah.
For all 3 games. But the other teams are not doing the same. And they got stomped by P's, either Serena or Blaziken. And I thought that that was the starting point that you need to do against Fennel. And all of the other teams already made a mistake from the starting point.
Okay, so who do you think was the most valuable player during the Fennel versus ONIC RISE? So at the both teams.
The most valuable player for Fennel in that series is Ton Gigi. When you look at the team, it looks like he is playing the defender role. But actually Fennel have prepared a strategy where Ton Gigi will play all-rounder in the bottom lane. And he will be able to be very strong for the Rayquaza fight. And he will be the detrimental factor that gives his team the victory. And I think for my team, Dev was really, really good in that series against Fennel on his Gyarados pick for both of the games in Game 1 and Game 2. And that has pushed Fennel to the point that in game 3 they stole our Gyarados only to stop Dev from playing it.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And they also banned Dev's Mimikyu. So our Dev was given like 2 situations taken away from him by Fennel, and I think that that shows how valuable Dev was to our team.
Exactly. Thank you so much. So what is the next big goal for ONIC RISE?
So 3rd place in WCS is a very good result, but obviously I'm still not satisfied with only getting 3rd place. My dream is still to win, to be the champion in an international competition. So we are looking towards being the champion of ACL. We might also travel for an international championship of the Western Pokémon Unite scene. It is either a EUIC or NAIC. We actually have like a bigger thing, which is the roster.
Is that for a new team or your team?
That is for my team.
ACL qualifiers? Probably gonna be the next like large international event, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see how it goes. So what are your thoughts on the competitive format and rules for the 2024 season? TPCi just announced how many world spots they got, or like when is the NAIC, when is the EUIC, and so on. But they are not introducing the TPC regions format yet. So if you could suggest any improvements to the Pokemon company for the next season, what would they be?
I think overall, 2024 season, it was pretty good. In terms of rules and formats, Pokemon Unite improves year by year.
Yeah, exactly.
But the one feedback I have for last season
Okay.
is only for the ACL finals when they introduced the fearless draft mode.
Oh yes.
You cannot use same Pokemon if you've used them in game 1, etc. I think it was really stupid, only for the fact that the fearless draft system itself is not inside the game. And they had to do a whole manual thing with pen and paper. You have to take notes which you have used and not. Because if they want to use that system, at least have it inside the game. But if it's already in the game, then I'm down for it. I'll adapt to whatever rules that you implement, whatever game modes that is in the game. Then as a professional player, it is my job to adapt to whatever the game developer wants. Yeah. My second feedback, if possible, it's a little bit of a personal opinion, but it would be great if our travel awards for WCS is awarded in cash instead of...
That's a really important point.
Because the way travel awards is handed to Asian team, they will book our flight and hotel details for us.
Oh yes, yes.
And it is non-negotiable regarding the dates of our travel.
Yeah.
So-
yeah, like the package trip.
Yeah.
Like TPC does that, and TPCi hands them in like virtual money, like way later than the competition ends. That what they told me. Like so yeah, like TPC region doesn't need to spend any money for the booking at all. But TPCi region, like their competitors, needs to book by themselves. Like at least like they need to pay by themselves first.
But actually, I there is a point about the TPCi format that I would like. It is that we can book our own schedule.
Exactly.
And it allows us to travel to the country of tournament earlier.
Exactly.
And it gives
That's
us more
a huge
time to
point.
practice before the tournament as well.
That's a huge point.
But for the TPC region, we cannot change any dates at all. So we have to
Exactly.
follow the rules and the dates from...
that they provided,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, you need to adjust like into the completely different time zone within like 2 days. And the second day that you arrived into that country would be a media day. So no time to practice in their time zone.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, thank you very much for your opinion. All right. So, okay, then Eeyorr, you have a big personal milestone coming up with your wedding next year. I heard that from the other guy. And before the third place match at the Worlds, I heard the team that did a fist bump, like saying, okay, let's do this for Eeyorr's wedding fun. And it is wonderful to see such support and celebration from your teammates. And so it's going to be a question for me. Like, how do you balance such personal life events with the demands of being a professional player?
I need to set things clear right now.
Okay.
So that was actually a joke
Okay.
by the others to try to make fun of me.
Okay. To make things ease or relax.
Yeah. So by doing that, they actually made us more relaxed and for us to be in a higher spirit.
Yeah, it was like a 1-1 between your team and Fusion, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So the whole thing is actually a joke, but I am happy about what kind of joke they use. They started the joke even from our first match against ACL.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they started saying about let's do it for Eeyorr, and I was like, why do you need to do it for me? I don't get it. But I'm very happy that you are taking it as seriously as I am. Yeah, because that can be a problem for some teams as well, where, for example, 3 players are giving their all, but the other 2 are laid back and not taking it as seriously. Yeah, so I'm very happy that my team was on the same page during the whole tournament, and we can still make jokes and be more relaxed before a very important, a very big match.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
But to answer your question about balancing, actually I'm very happy that my girlfriend is very supportive of me to pursue Pokémon Unite. It's not difficult for me to balance like friends, families, girlfriend, because they're all very supportive of me. But when it comes to close to official tournaments, I can say that I put 100% into the game and I put away all the other personal stuff until the end of the tournament. That's how I do it.
Yeah. So, what advice would you give to the other professional players to, have a stable girlfriend and to keep competing at the top as a top player?
I think my advice is that if you're really serious about the game and it's time to really lock in, and when it's time for the key moment of the esports journey of the year, you really have to put everything into it. You should be willing to sacrifice and commit full time for those moments.
Exactly. And as a perspective of ladies, like if any of you watching this as a lady and a girlfriend of esports players, one of your job is to support your boyfriend. If you want his full attention, you are not the one who should be sitting next to him. Support each other is the most important part of getting married or have a stable relationship. And if you couldn't respect what he is doing and focusing on right now, that wouldn't be the one who should be choosing in the near future. So that's my opinion as a married woman. Okay, terima kasih for the coming.
Terima kasih.
Yeah, I've got 2 last questions. You know the question, dream team.
Okay. So for my dream team, I think I've managed to make a really, really strong team. So first of all, I will start from the jungle and support, because I think that's the 2 roles that really, really need to be in sync and works very well together. And I have chosen Overlord for the jungle and Elo as the support, which is the 2-time world champions jungle and support combination.
Exactly.
Moving on to the bottom path, I feel that the attacker role as well as the defender role also needs to be well connected and have a really, really strong teamwork and synergy. And for the attacker role, I have chosen AXQ from my team. I think he is very, very good. Not only locally or in APAC West region, but in the whole world. I think he's one of the best attacker. And for the defender role, I have chosen Tomato from Zeta Division. Both of them are very, very good individually. And I feel like both of them will be able to understand each other. For the top path player, I think there's only one obvious answer, it's P from Fennel. I think he is very, very good individually. And the team only needs to spend just a tiny bit of resource, just help him to get through that difficult early phase. And after that, he will He will do the rest for you. You don't need to cover him for 10 minutes. You only need to cover him for 3 minutes, sometimes 4. And after that, he'll destroy the whole... He will destroy Thea Skywinds. He's the only one that can do it, yeah. And Rayquaza won't even dare to face P. I think if that team were to play in an official tournament for real, I will retire and I will become the broadcaster. I won't be playing against them. There's no way to beat that team.
All right. Thank you very much. That was really a fascinating team to be having up on stage someday in the international tournament. Who knows?